whoever I get is whoever I get.
Yeah.
And wherever I end up is how I end up. So it really, when the world tells you things like that, I feel like it takes away your options. It takes away the freedom that the Lord has given us.
It takes away your hope.
It takes away
Robs
hope.
you of hope.
About this love.
Hey guys, so Dale and Charel here, host of the About This Love podcast. We wanted to come with a quick behind the scenes video, just chatting more about, season 2 coming back on the podcast. We're back, exactly. Our reasonings for doing the podcast. I know we talked about it a little bit.
Briefly.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly in the intro, but we wanted just to expand on it with the behind the scenes, because oftentimes after we turn off the mics, we're still having this conversation and checking back in with the Lord to see if, we're really reflecting His image.
Yeah, and we want you guys to be a part of that. We want trying to build a community, and not just like you just listening to us on YouTube or whatever platform you choose to listen to us, but also we want you to feel like you're involved, and we want to just make sure that it's just our hearts are understood of why we started the podcast and why we do what it is that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So like one thing I know, it was like a reoccurring theme, like as far as relationships always come up in our conversation.
Yeah.
Also being young in a relationship or handling relationships, because I think that oftentimes people think that millennials don't know how to just like hold on to anything.
What do you mean?
Like, I just feel as though a lot of older generations, a lot of older people, they look at people in our age group, whether it be like, I don't know, early 30s to early 20s, and they just feel as though we don't know how to, go out here and work hard. We don't know how to, maintain a relationship, and we don't know how to build on success or build on anything really.
I mean, yeah, I definitely understand, and I understand how that could be a concern or a challenge if you were never taught.
Yeah.
So I mean, I do think the concerns that some of the older generation have can be very valid. And I will say from my own experience that a lot of the people that I've hung around, or whether it's work or just friends, some of those concerns are valid. Even with myself, I didn't know what it was how to be a husband or how to be a father, but the Lord put somebody in my life who could mirror that for me, so I could see, what it was. And he was and is a great example of that. So, but apart from him, I wouldn't know. I would have to kind of just be kind of wing it as you go along. And oftentimes, when you do that, I mean, you can do that, and if that would have been my only option, I would have done it, with the grace of the Lord. But oftentimes when you do that, you waste a lot of years because you just kind of go on circles over and over and over again. Versus when you have someone who's kind of gone before you, they can kind of teach you, hey man, I did this, so you don't have to. I bumped my head doing that, so you don't have to. So you kind of save a lot of time and a lot of years, of just making mistakes that you don't have to make if you have somebody, in your life who can demonstrate that to you.
And I think I oftentimes refer back to the time where I feel as though the Lord had woke me up one day and said, basically put on my heart to start preparing to be a wife. At the time I worked in a salon, and a hair salon it's different types of women. It's older women, younger women, and much older women as well. And so I felt as though I was like, well, Lord, what does that look like to be a wife? My mom had been married and divorced. My grandmother had been married for by this time, about 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but if I never took the time to sit down and ask them, a lot of times I don't think that people think to sit and ask. And I don't think that it's been put on their hearts to sit and ask, because it's like, well, there's no other way. There's like, in your mind, you just think that there's no other way to do things. Had the Lord not put that on my heart, but to even ask, to even inquire that there could be a different lifestyle, I would honestly be going around believing that whoever I get is whoever I get.
Yeah.
and wherever I end up is how I end up. So it really, when the world tells you things like that, I feel like it takes away your options. It takes away the freedom that the Lord has given us.
Takes away your hope.
It takes away
Robs
hope.
you of hope.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I did, at one point, I started to become hopeless because I'm just like, dang, Lord, so I may end up with a God-fearing man or
with a gangster.
Or I may end
drug
up with
pusher.
Yeah, so it was just, and then they may want to marry me, they may not want to. And, you know, that kind of was a reoccurring answer that I have gotten about, like, well, one day I want to be married. And someone actually said to me, like, well, what if you never get married? And I mean, as harsh as it was very true for her to say that. But then at the same time, I'm like,
where's that coming from?
Where is it coming from? Is that from your personal experience? Is that from, you know, because you think of, you know, with my age that I couldn't sustain a marriage? Because a lot of times we do see these celebrities, we see people getting on reality shows, or they're having their own YouTube, and, you know, they're getting a big house and they have the spin-off series and all of this with a big wedding and kids, and then 3 years down the road, they're divorced.
Yeah.
And, you know, people, and I feel like the sad part is that people our age look up to that because no one's talking about it. No one's really giving that hope that, you know, that we want.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, and I also feel as though sometimes we don't know that it's okay to articulate that to others, to our peers. In this generation, I think it was either beginning of 2018 or 2019 when the year started, it was this hashtag waste their time. And I just cringed because I was just like, y'all don't have time to waste. Like, you think that you do, but you're gonna look up and be 50 and, okay, yeah, you done traveled the world, you done did this and that. Not to say that marriage or being with another person is the only thing that will fulfill you. Yeah, it's the end all be all. It's not. Just me seeking out the Lord really just led me to want to have deeper, meaningful relationships. At my engagement, not engagement party, but bridal shower, you know, other girls my age are going on trips to Cancun and girls trips and matching swims. Oh, well, for you, strip clubs.
No, I mean, women do that too.
Oh yeah, you're right. Women do that too. But you know, they have this like set. They
wild out before you get married,
or, you know, set standards of what you're supposed to do before you walk down the aisle. And for me, it was like, whatever. Like, I don't care about any of that. I know you and I, we had a lot of back and forth because you felt like I was being very traditional, but I'm just like, man, do you not see what these other people, these other girls my age, these other women my age are doing before they get married? But then, you know, you see down the road, they have like terrible marriages, or the marriage don't even last. And I'm just like, for me, for my bridal shower, it was at one restaurant that I really love, and it was everyone at the table was family and friends, and not just any family or friends. It was looking around women who have been married for years,
and who are involved in successful marriages.
Exactly, who are involved in successful marriages.
And still happily married.
and happily married. And not to say that they didn't have downfalls, that everything was perfect or what have you, but to me, that spoke to the Lord hearing my heart on, you know, what I wanted for myself, even before I can voice to him what I wanted. Because I have relationships with those women.
Yeah.
You know, I have relationships with them. And it's just kind of like when stuff hit the fan in my relationship, in my marriage, it's kind of like, who's there? Who can I go to? Who can give me sound wisdom? Yeah. They're hearing from the Lord.
Be truthful and tell you what you need to hear, and not what you want to hear. I remember one time when you got to an argument, I called my brother and he told me the truth, and it pissed me off. It made me mad. But it's like you need people in your life that's not afraid to piss you off. That's gonna tell you the truth. Hey, bro, you tripping.
In
you
love.
Know what I'm saying?
You
love,
tripping,
you know what I'm saying? You're like, I don't want to hear that crap, man. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, hey, you called me, for counsel and for wisdom, I'm gonna tell you the truth because I love you. Cause I know one time he was like, well, now if you want me to lie to you, I'll lie to you and tickle your ear, but it's not gonna benefit you for me to lie to you and just tickle your ear. So I think that, just the point of the podcast and the reasoning for what we want to do is oftentimes, as we have engaged ourselves in conversations or just life lessons, we're like, man, I wonder if anybody else is thinking about that. I wonder if anybody else is asking these kind of questions or have to kind of like ask God, well, Lord, can I find a meaningful relationship, or what should I do, or just getting sound advice and encouragement from somebody. Because I know when I got married, and I tell people when before I got married, and when I told some people that I was going to get married, the first thing that people said was, well, get a prenup, and I'm like, wow, like why is that the first thing someone would say to me? I'm talking about older people who probably like 40, mid 40s, 50 years old. Like why would you tell a young man who's in his early 20s or mid 20s that to get a prenup? It's because people really don't value marriage. They don't value relationships. That they may see it as a come up as far as financially, but they don't really value the person that they're with. And that's understandable. That's cool. I'm not mad at nobody. If you want to get married for the come up, hey, do you, brother? Do you, sister? I'm cool with that. But I think for us, it was really just finding meaningful relationships and finding meaning and enjoyment and excitement and prosperity in our marriage. And when I say prosperity, I'm not talking about financially. I'm talking about as far as like our health-wise, psychologically, physically, just having all of it put together in one cup. Prosperity. I think for the most part, we've been able to achieve that. We've had quite a few hiccups in our marriage, which is it's normal. It's normal to have hiccups in any relationship, especially one that you're really close with. But I think for us, we continue to strive and push forward, and we have a desire to encourage people our own age and those who want to listen. Subscribe to our material, listen to us, follow us on social media, and just continue until we put something out. Listen to it. If you have any questions or if you have any topics that you want us to address, if we can, we will. If we feel like we can't address it, we know people who have been married longer than us who would help us, to address the questions.
If you enjoyed the conversation, if you've enjoyed our intro episode, just look forward to 11 more episodes within this season 2. So it'll be 11 more weeks of, us just talking about different topics, boundaries, children, friendships, and so much more. So I hope that you've enjoyed the behind the scenes conversation. We will be having a couple more videos like this and some other different things too, so you can get a peek into our lives. And we want to hear from you. We want to hear your thoughts on the episode or any of the other episodes that come out after this video. Thanks so much.
Peace.
Peace.